Continuing on with our taboos from The Complete Idiot's Guide to Paganism. And just for those who might have this book at home, I am on page 249. Never cast a spell to change someone else's behavior. To get a person to fall in love with you, for example. Not only is this unethical, it will never make you happy. If you cast a love spell on a person who then says she loves you, does she really love you, or was it just the spell? You'll never know for sure. It's better to cast a spell to make yourself more naturally attractive to the right person, and then let nature take its course. Free will. That's what this is talking about. And this is a little bit more precise than some other books. Now, what I deal with a lot is people that like to do the love spells, but they also like to bind. They see somebody that they believe is doing something that they disagree with, and so they do this binding spell to try to stop this person from doing this particular action. Well, here it just says you're not supposed to change somebody else's behavior. So a binding spell is changing somebody's behavior, the way they are. And it's wrong. They're saying it's ethically wrong. All right. Another taboo. Some people associate witchcraft with curses, spells intended to hurt somebody else. This is an incorrect understanding of pagan spirituality. Binding and banishing are ethical tools for magical self-defense that honor the spirit of the Wiccan Rede. Leave the curses in the low-budget horror movies where they belong. Now, there's one error with this little thing here. They're talking about the Wiccan Rede. Not all pagans are Wiccans, and so the Wiccan Rede does not apply to them. In fact, the Wiccan Rede doesn't really it's not required by all Wiccans either, because Rede means advice. Okay, and everybody has their own spirituality. Spells are not black and white. It is how we use them and why we use them. So a curse can be used to defend yourself. So to say that, the curses and all that, leave them alone, sometimes you can't, sometimes you don't have to. You have to do what's right to protect yourself. It's the laws of self-preservation. Taboo. Herbs can heal, but it can also be dangerous. Consult with a reputable herbalist if you are interested in using herbal remedies. If you are interested in herbal healing, you need to study with a qualified herbal master. This is pretty self-explanatory, but there are some books out there that you can get to help you out if you cannot find an herbal teacher. Let me grab, my better half has it. Yeah. Sorry, my better half has the book. There's Cunningham's Guide to Magical Herbs. There's a couple other very good books out there that talk about herbs. The problem is some of the herbs or plants that we use in our practice are highly poisonous. And so if you're not paying attention, you can accidentally poison yourself or somebody that is part of your ritual and such. So please be careful with herbs. Okay. Taboo. However tempting it may be, don't ever perform magic for someone else without his or her consent. If you want to do healing work for a loved one who doesn't understand paganism or doesn't know you're pagan, Offer to say prayers for them instead. Pagans believe even prayer can be a source of magical healing. A prayer is a basic form of spell, because a spell, to cast a spell, it is about harnessing, focusing, picturing, and releasing of energy. So when you put your hands together, you're forming your pooling spot. This is where you're going to get your energy. And as you say your prayer, you are going to shape it, and you're focusing your energies. And when you say, hey, amen, and you open up your hands, you are releasing it. So a prayer is a basic form of magic. Taboo. Even the most liberal pagans follow these strict sexual limits. Rape, sexual assault, and sex with minors are totally forbidden, and any situation involving harassment, exploitation, or manipulation is also out of bounds. Cheating on your spouse is a form of lying, so that's not okay. Unsafe sex, since it is potentially harmful, is also against pagan ethics. Paganism does have a more open view on sex and sexual relations, but we do not allow, as this was saying, we do not allow rape, sexual assault, or sex with minors. We are very open. Most of us are very open to the LGBT community. We do not have rules where if two people are not married, they can't have sex. No, as long as it's consensual sex, we're cool with it. The sex orgies, that's just not everybody's style. There might be some groups that do that, but a majority of your pagans don't. Some people think pagan sexuality sounds like a big party. Just because pagans believe in freedom, however, it doesn't mean anything goes. No matter what sexual lifestyle you choose, as a pagan, you need to treat others with honesty, respect, maturity, and kindness. Anything else is wrong, even by pagan standards. Well, as I was saying, pagans are very open when it comes to sexuality. So if you are consenting to having sex with another person, that person's consensual, no big deal. But, there should be a rule of conduct between these people, like you're saying, respect, honesty, maturity. That's very important. Don't decide you're a pagan solitary just because you don't like the institutional religious groups you grew up with. Pagan groups tend to be much more tolerant, flexible, and upbeat with many mainstream churches. If you're new to paganism, give group membership a chance. This is, again, talking about like the scars of Christianity. We are so hurt, so afraid to go through what we went through under the Christian churches, where we don't want to go through that again, and sometimes we refuse to give a pagan group that chance, and we got to learn to get past that. So I have my issues with the Christian church, and so it is harder for me to open up to a larger group. But I've actually been a member of a couple groups, and I learned a lot. I got to interact with some wonderful people. So everybody should give it a chance Just make sure that your eyes are open and you are well aware of everything that's going on, because not all pagan groups are wonderful either. Pagan groups often function like families. If you join a group and then leave, it can feel as wrenching as a divorce. Don't switch groups every time your ego gets bruised. Try to work through any conflicts or differences that arise. Egos are strong in pagan groups. There is a saying that I hear a lot amongst my fellow pagans. Trying to get us to agree on something in a single pagan group is like herding cats. We have a mentality that nobody's going to tell us what to believe. So then with that mentality, when we get into groups, we sometimes focus on the one thing we don't disagree, the one item that we disagree upon, instead of the 19 items that we do agree upon. And so that causes a lot of problems with groups, and it is something that, including myself, we as a pagan community have to learn to work with. Taboo. Don't waste time worrying about the right way to be a pagan. Instead, focus your attentions on how you most enjoy honoring Mother Nature. The more true you are to yourself, the better a pagan you will be. That is mostly right, but you do have to, as I also said earlier in here, you do have to develop a structure, a code for yourself and follow it. You can't just hit and miss and, oh, that rule, I'm not going to follow that this week, but I'm going to do it next week. That is counterproductive. And so sometimes you do have to worry. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, no, you can't, because you have this rule or that rule pertaining to something that in your spiritual path. Taboo. Remembering that labels like pagan and witch often alienate people needlessly. Your mother might freak out if you tell her you're a witch, but might surprise you with an open-minded response if you talk instead about reverence for a goddess in nature. Don't go out of your way to avoid the labels, but don't use them needlessly around non-pagans. Labels receive a lot of complaints. A lot of people hate labels. I love labels. I think they are required because it tells us about a person. Because a label could be, well, I'm a Celtic-oriented pagan. Well, right there, it tells a lot about who I am. 3 simple words. So then if somebody was to say that they were a Christian, that's a label. I know where they're kind of standing at. And so I can interact with that person a lot better. I can know what I can or should not say. Taboo. Fundamental Christians, or fundamentalists of any religion, rarely can accept people whose spiritual path is different from theirs. Remember that they have been indoctrinated to be intolerant. Save your blood pressure. Consider keeping your spirituality discreet from any fundamentalists in your life, whether family, friend, or acquaintance. What they don't know won't hurt them or you. My better half gave me a little story about way she was growing up in the pagan community in California. And she was told, you know, a lot of these Christians out there can be some of the nicest, most wonderful people in the world, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to be. But when things go bad, those people that, you know, were welcoming you into their churches and all that can turn on you, because, well, when it comes to their beliefs, they're going to go stand by their beliefs, and anybody who does not stand with them is against them in their eyes. And that is all of the taboos out of the Complete Idiot's Guide to Paganism. We covered a lot of subjects, and I would love to get some feedback on there. And please rate the videos so I know, you know, if this is something that you're wanting to know about more. I am going to start on the Earthwords boxes on this next. Take care. Be at peace.